And here we are for part 4. I haven't even moved yet. So in this one we're looking at A-shape bar chords, and we're going to be looking at the minor version, the dominant 7th version, and the minor 7 version. So I think without further ado, I'm going to get ready for a close-up. See you in a sec. Okay, so here we are now. This is the 3rd fret we're on, and this would be our C chord, our C bar chord. Again, remembering all of the way through this, if I tuck that finger away, you shouldn't do that. I'm just doing that to make it clear for you what the chord is. So there's the good old C chord. Now, if we want to make it a C minor chord, if we think back to what we did with like our regular A chord, there was our A chord, A minor chord, looked like that. It's kind of like E chord, isn't it, but on the wrong strings. So funnily enough, our C minor shape is also, if we had a G bar chord with the 6th string root, remember we did that in Master Your Bar Chords 1, that would be a G chord at the 3rd fret. If we move everything down a string, we end up with C minor. Now this might seem a little confusing, that the fact that this was a major shape here and a minor shape on these strings, but I'm assuming you never got E chord and A minor chord mixed up. They're the same shape on different strings. So all you have to do is remember what string the root note is on. With our E shape, like G major chord, the root note was here on the 6th string. But now that we're working from the 5th string root, that same or very similar shape looks, or sounds rather, looks and sounds and is a minor chord. So this one, we've got 1st finger now doing the whole bar thing, so it's barring right the way down, because it also needs to hold down the thinnest string as well. We've got 3rd finger here, this is on the 5th fret, it's on the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 5th fret again, this 2nd finger here pressing down on the 4th fret, and 1st finger is playing also the thinnest string up there as well. And of course, our 1st finger is still muting that 6th string, because we don't want that. If, say for example, this C minor chord, if we forget to mute that 6th string, I mean, it just sounds really rank. So you definitely make sure that you're getting the tip of your 1st finger there muting that chord, muting that note rather, not the chord. Really important. Okay, so that's C minor. So we had C major, which is the one that everyone kind of struggles with a little bit. So if you're falling into that category, be cool with that. You know, it is a hard chord. And then we've got the C minor. Now to get to C minor 7 is quite a nice one. All we do is lift off our little finger. Very nice little chord. So this is now 1st finger's playing the root note here at the 5th string and muting the 6th string. I keep repeating that because it's really important. 3rd finger in the 5th fret. Then on the 3rd string we're playing that note with our 1st finger. 2nd finger is playing the 4th fret where it was before for the minor, and we're using the bar to play the thinnest string there, also on the 3rd fret. So it should be muted 6th string. Now remember those things about keeping your finger a little bit rolled onto the side is really helpful. Remember it's not flat like this, it's slightly onto the side. And also remember that this note here on the 3rd string is going to be the hardest one to get. So you might need to make sure that you're pressing down quite nice and hard in order to get that note to ring out. Now the last one from our little series of looking at the 4 different types is this one here. Again, that finger's normally there, but I'm just tucking it down here to make it clear. You can see now little finger tucked in underneath there. So this is a 1st finger muting the 6th string, then it's playing the 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the 5th fret, 1st finger will again be playing the 3rd fret there on the 3rd string, little finger down on the 5th fret, and the bar will be playing the 3rd fret on the thinnest string. That's your classic kind of blues chord. So we have major, remembering to keep that knuckle forward, that's the most important part of that. Major, minor, minor 7, lift off little finger as well, and 7, where little finger goes down. So these two are kind of split. There's a string in the middle of them going right the way through there. Wait, yeah? That's C7. So they're your 4 types of A-shaped bar chord that you want to learn first. Major, minor, minor 7, and 7. Mastering these two shapes, the E shape and the A shape, with the 4 different chord types of each shape, so it's a total of 8 chords that you've got there. These form the foundation for all of your guitar playing that you're probably going to do for the rest of your life. There are 3 other bar chord shapes: G shape, which is really difficult and hardly ever used; C shape, which is moderately difficult but used a little bit because it's kind of useful; and D shape, which is used in certain parts of that shape but very rarely the whole thing. They're quite difficult and quite advanced. I wouldn't have thought that you probably want to learn those until you've been playing guitar for 3 or 4 years and really confident with your guitar playing in general. I think most of your stuff like your Jack Johnsons or your Bob Dylans or whatever, these kind of people, if they're playing bar chords, they're definitely going to be playing E shape and A shape. Very rarely will any of those other shapes get used. I'd say there's an awful lot of really fine guitar players that don't know those other 3 shapes. They're really quite rare. So the next thing for you to make sure that you do is really nail these chords properly. I highly recommend getting a book like the Beatles Complete is the one that I recommend for the most strongly. Just the Beatles are an amazing band, amazing songs, and really interesting chords and chord sequences. So by going through that book, just open the book to a random song and try and play it. Make sure that you get all of those chords down. You might come across the occasional chords you don't know. Remembering, of course, that you can do what's called boiling down chords. So if you have a G11, you could just play a G7. If you have a G minor 9, you can play a G minor 7 or a G minor even, if you boil it down enough. So remember, just subtract those notes. For the time being, you could alter, if you see an altered chord like a dominant 7 sharp 9 or a sharp 5, you could just ignore it and just knock off any of those extensions that you don't know. The most important bit is major and minor, and whether it's sharp or flat, like G flat 7 would sound really horrible if you played G. Yeah, so the sharp or flat is to do with the pitch, not the chord type. But the chord type can be muddled down a little bit. There's also, for any of you Jack Johnson fans, there's a couple of really good tunes for practicing these chords. One I've already got up here, which is Traffic in the Sky. Beautiful song for learning these bar chord shapes, just because you're picking out the notes one at a time, so you really have to make sure that you've got your bar chord down like properly. And the other one that I like as well for this is Gone, which is just using E shape and A shape bar chords with a sweet little picking pattern. I think both of those songs actually I've put up here on YouTube already, so you might want to go and check those out after you've practiced up your chord a bit. Don't worry, don't jump into it. Spend a bit of time on the chord. I recommend, again, just 5 minutes a day with your timer, making sure that you do your proper concentrating 5-minute timer practice on just strum, pick out and strum, just like you would have or should have done for your open chords, to make sure every note is really clear. Bar chords are difficult. Everybody struggles with them, but once you nail them, the world is your oyster as far as chords songs go, because there's very few songs that you can't play with your bar chords. So if you've got your open chords down and your bar chords down, you can play a bit of rhythm guitar. You're well on your way. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Au revoir.